The difficulty of reapplying to a residency. As a fairly optimistic person, I would usually err on the side of optimism by encouraging a doctor who did not match into a residency the first time to reapply again next year. However, with all that I have deduced over the last 2 years of research about the residency shortage, I would worry about setting up an unmatched doctor for failure. Not matching the first time is devastating. I actually fear the outcomes for these doctors with subsequent failures to match. I've heard from several doctors who have failed to match after 3 or 4 reapplications. One doctor actually sounded suicidal. This is what caused me to try to figure out what was happening and why. I mentioned in my biography that I've been on the sidelines of medical education for 50 years. Based on my exposure to at least 7 different residency programs, there appears to be one program manager or administrative assistant assigned to the task of managing residency applications at each program. With the current situation of the residency shortage, the fear of not matching has caused graduate doctors to apply to an average of 47 applications each. The application process has been deluged with almost 2 million applications per year. That's 42,000 applicants times 47 applications yields 1.974 million applications. Depending upon the specialty, that amounts to hundreds and thousands of applications to each residency program, and in turn, to only one solitary program manager. That's a lot of applications to read. And the applications are lengthy as well. They include a personal statement and often 3 letters of recommendation, a dean's letter, and all the other credentials. As I've mentioned in a prior blog, several residencies in my area have received, one was 1,000 applications for 15 positions. Another was 900 applications for 20 positions. Another 1,400 applications for 12 positions. Based upon these numbers, I came to the conclusion that a computer-generated screening device had to be used to whittle down the number of applications that actually had to be read. I then realized that due to the quantitative screening, for instance, a Step 2 score, performed by a computer, the same applicants would be repeatedly passed over, even though the applicants may have had additional years of training, research, etc. This is why my normally optimistic outlook was fearful of offering false hope to the doctors who had not matched the first time. Part of me worried that readers would say, "How do you know that is really happening? You don't work there." Another part of me realized no one would really or readily admit that this process was occurring. They would want to say, "We read all applications we receive and give fair consideration to each." So I contacted a residency program manager I know personally and interviewed her about their application procedures as well as her other job responsibilities, knowing that the full scope of her job would help to generalize the process somewhat to other residencies across the U.S. She told me her program receives 500 to 600 applications and that she reads each personal statement. This is her first level of screening. She admitted that if their numbers of applications were greater, she would resort to a screening of some kind. She indicated that although there is an email network of program managers and that they do communicate with one another, that probably no one would admit to using a computer screening to reduce the applications read for their programs. The crush of applicants has deluged the programs with phone messages, emails, and cold call visits. It is useless to try to make contact with a residency to, quote, state your case or get your foot in the door. The program manager said she answers as many emails and phone calls as she can and lets the others go unanswered. Any impromptu visits by applicants are not given an appointment. So your hands are tied. Your only chance is if your application made the cut in the computer screening of programs with huge numbers of applicants. This is why my normally optimistic self has become a realist. There are at least 13 other roles the program manager fulfills. I'll just name a few, which in themselves are quite detailed. She keeps track of 27 milestones for each resident. When they accomplish them during the year, she checks this twice a year for 16 residents. Organizes a week-long orientation program for new residents. Maintains independent contractor contracts for each faculty member. Keeps the on-call schedules, 365 days per year. Processes physician payments based on clinic, surgery, on-call, supervision, etc. They're all reimbursed at a different rate. Maintains ACGME requirements and credentials. That's so they can keep their residency up and running. Reimburses and makes travel arrangements for the faculty. Sets up online recommendation system for each monthly rotation for each of the 16 residents. Reads all the applications, sets interviews, arranges the visits of applicants, answers emails and phone messages, and so on and so on. At this point, you're probably thinking, this is too much information. I thought that providing this amount of detail would lend credibility to the plight of the unmatched doctor and their chances of successfully matching with successive reapplications. I've tried to expose the, quote, dirty little secrets of what is going on during the residency shortage. There are 42,000 applicants for 32,000 positions each year. This has to be corrected. It is complete insanity to discard fully educated and qualified doctors, especially in view of the projected doctor shortage. Please share this blog with your colleagues and legislators. Let's find a solution.